Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. Happy Thanksgiving. Very disappointing loss today. An embarrassing effort, I should say, from the Dallas Cowboys to the Buffalo Bills. Congratulations to the Buffalo Bills and all Bills fans out there. Thanksgiving Day victory for them, 26-15. Want to get into our sponsors before we get into breaking down the game and this coaching staff. Boss's Ranch, phenomenal product here, guys. Those of you who are in the Central Texas area and throughout where you have a HEB, the results are in, guys, and the competitions that they've won, the taste tests that they've done in the HEBs. It's phenomenal product. Happy Thanksgiving to the Lambert family, bosses, the guys that help us, grow this channel and just so thankful for them and this wonderful product that they have. So go check them out, your local HEB, cold produce section, Boss's Ranch, phenomenal product. Now, speaking of a product that's not quite as phenomenal, our Dallas Cowboys. Look, a lot is going to be made of the Jerry Jones post-game stuff and Michael Bennett screaming in the locker room. I've just gotten back, so I was listening to Brian Broaddus and Ari and those guys on the Cowboys post-game show and hearing some of the reactions from Twitter as well. But a lot's going to be made out of that. A lot's going to be made out of Jerry's teary-eyed, I'm sticking with Jason Garrett through the last 4 games. And let's start there. I actually agree that he should stick with Jason these last 4 games. Why not? You stuck with him for a decade. What's 4 more games? I've been on the we need a championship level head coach campaign. I was probably one of the first people to start it, but here we are. I was there during Tony Romo's days when they lost to RG3, I think his rookie year. I said he wasn't the guy for us, but what was that, 7 years later or however many years later? I think that was like 2012. Granted, he would have been 2-3 years into the gig, but I was already turned off by some of the things he was doing as an offensive coordinator for us, considering he was the highest paid coordinator in the league at that time. But we get to 2019 and it's the same stuff, just different personnel, the same up and down effort level, performance, getting your ass kicked by another coaching staff. Very basic things, too. You look at Josh Allen today. I've watched Josh Allen a lot this season. He's improved tremendously, especially the last, I'd say, month or so. He's gotten a lot better. But there's nothing he did today that we didn't see Jeff Driscoll do to us 2 weeks ago. It's nothing. We didn't take away anything. And knowing, especially, it is funny because going against Jeff Driscoll, very similar type of athlete, obviously Josh Allen, better arm and arm talent and all that. But in terms of how they play and how the Lions move the ball on us, and it's funny because they're almost identical on the points too. I think the Lions had 27. These guys today had 26. So how they move the ball and whatnot and not taking away any type of primary reads or anything. Like, we concede so many yards just in our alignment. It's crazy. Then we play almost too fast in our front 7 on defense to where we create these massive running lanes. Devin Singletary was another person who benefited greatly from this. But in terms of Josh Allen, the book on him has been keep him in the pocket, keep everything condensed, try to take away his legs as best you can. He's a tremendous athlete, and he's going to make plays here and there that are just, where it's man on man, he's just better than you. But you keep everything condensed and make him beat you through progressions. Make him read the defense. I don't think there was a single time in this game where we made him sit there and play tight coverage against that to actually make him read the defense and dot us up, with his third or fourth guy, right? Outside of, okay, my first guy's not open, let me move around, scramble, and then, somebody's going to break free because our coverage doesn't match up well. These are very basic things that you look at if you watch the Bills enough in terms of how to try to slow their offense down. Cowboys didn't get that tape. And so that's on the coaching staff. Now everyone says Chris Richard. They want to see Chris Richard get a shot at being the head coach down this stretch, and let's see what he can do, and maybe he can inject some life into this team. And it was funny, Brian Broaddus was like, "What do you want him to do? Start practicing outside? Like what else can he do?" And it's funny that his name keeps getting brought up because it's out of frustration as a fan base. People want folks that are yellers and in people's faces, and I get it. I get the frustration, but Chris Richard is a yeller, and he's all about accountability. Yet his position group and the folks that he coaches is probably the least productive unit on the team outside of special teams. That actually Keith O'Quinn has the least productive unit on the team, but he is the second least productive unit on our team, in my opinion. And the secondary has been terrible, and they act like now apparently they can't function without Jeff Heath back there. And again, I'm thankful for his service. I said that last week in the Patriots game, but damn it shouldn't be to the point where, you don't recognize a player that was in your organization for I don't know how long, Cole Beasley, what he can and cannot do, and how people would shut him down. But yet we have Jordan Lewis, who is the right person to have on Cole Beasley in these situations. But asking him to play man coverage for over 5-6 seconds is ridiculous. It's not fair to Jordan Lewis. It's not fair to the defense. And you have no other game plan outside of that. There's nobody else on the Bills that's torching you like that. They're moving the football through, the athleticism. They're staying balanced, and they weren't beating themselves. Another sign of a well-coached team, and you have to give credit to Sean McDermott there. And so, but going back to the Chris Richard thing, Jason Garrett should keep his job because nobody else deserves a promotion to be the head coach. Chris Richard does not deserve to be he doesn't deserve that opportunity, in my opinion. If you can't even prove to me and to Jerry that your defense needs to play at a certain level. They were horrible today. Now, we also are developing a culture of panic, okay? When you look at the offensive side of the football, and I've been a fan of Kellen Moore and some of the things he's done, and he's going to get better as he continues to grow as a coordinator in this league. It's probably not going to be with us, considering the turmoil that's around this organization. It's unfortunate because I think he is going to be really, really good, and I think he does some good things. He had a good opening script today, right? But the Bills adjusted, and he panicked. Our offense as a whole panics. Our quarterback panicked a little bit today. Dak didn't play well, period. Okay, I'm not gonna be here to sugarcoat things. Fortunately, the referees tried to keep us in the game, trying to make up for last week because the Bills were getting just completely jobbed on a few calls, in my opinion. I know Cowboys fans, I may not be popular with you guys, but we try to be objective here on this channel, and the officiating was poor in regards to the Bills today. But going back to the offense, I believe it was the third quarter. We're down 16-7. That's the last time Ezekiel Elliott touches the football. And I don't understand in a two-possession game why it all of a sudden everything has to be on Dak's shoulders in the pass game. You lose a Connor Williams, who, again, Cowboys fans seem to have this thing where they don't like Connor Williams for whatever reason, even though he's a second-year player, second-year playing guard in his life. But we have this thing where he sucks and we dismiss him. Xavier Su'a-Filo, who you guys love, comes in the game. He's the one responsible for the strip sack that did turn into points for Buffalo. By the way, the other interception that Dak had was the missed field goal, so that actually didn't hurt us in terms of points. I keep hearing people saying the Bills got all these points off turnovers. That's not correct because the other interception was the missed 50-yard field goal by Stephen Hauschka. But the strip sack was on Xavier Su'a-Filo. He immediately gets beat. But my issue is with the coaches as well. When you bring in Xavier Su'a-Filo, I know his game is more of a mauler, run game, that type of thing. And in our throw game, we probably can't do some of the stuff because he's not going to hold up as long as Connor Williams, contrary to whatever your line of thinking there is. Now, Connor Williams did try to come back. He also doesn't get credit for fighting through toughness or fighting through injuries with his toughness. He gets no credit from Cowboys fans for that. He had knee surgery a couple weeks ago. Nobody gives him any credit for that. Puts Danny Shelton on his ass last week. Nobody gives him credit for that. But He's fighting through. You see him have the false start because his knees just can't hold up. I was interesting why he didn't have a brace on or anything, but he has to come out. And Xavier Su'a-Filo is on the ground again and getting beat throughout the game. I'd like to see Joe Looney probably in those spots. I know he's our backup center, and that leads me to another thing. Our offensive line as a whole is not playing well. Travis Frederick's been terrible this season. And I know some people also don't want to hear that because they assume he's playing well and getting by on reputation. He's still a very smart, cerebral player. But physically, he's been getting his ass whooped all season. And for those who have really, really been paying attention, you can see it. Ed Oliver wasn't going off until you saw Connor Williams leave. And then the other thing, too, the Bills' stunt seemed to work on us. They seem to find holes and gaps to get through. We, on our side of the ball, defensively, we seem to stunt ourselves out of place almost. It's an issue in our run game. At times we stunt into the wrong gap. Now, I will say this, Tristan Hill impressed me today. He actually played pretty well. It was cool to see him active, and he made a couple plays behind the line of scrimmage. We need more of that. Saw that also from Christian Covington. I did like some of the nickel blitzes we had behind. Darian Thompson got home. Jordan Lewis got home. But it's not enough good. And overall, the effort seemed to go down as the game went on, and the panic level increased on our side. And Jason Garrett's making decisions based on what people are saying on social media or what Jerry's responded to with the local media about, well, it was 4th and 7 last week in the Patriots game, and you kicked the field goal and took the points when you probably should have decided to go for it in that situation if you're playing to win. And this week we get too aggressive when in reality it's like, you have to make decisions within the reason of the moment. And in that moment, it's the end of the third quarter. You're struggling, and you just need to get some points on the board. I know it's 23-7 at that point, but if you were going to go for it, again, and people have said this consistently and they're right, if you're going to go for it, why not try to pick up a play or use a play, get some couple yards or something, and try to take it in chunks. Instead, we throw 2 low percentage fades, one on first down and one on third down, and then we end up in the situation where Dak throws one of the worst throws of his season of his career, possibly, to Zeke out in the flats where he doesn't even give him a chance to make a play. That's where I would have liked to see 3 points, 23-10 going into the fourth quarter. People come back from down 13 all the time, especially you got to go talk to your boy Chris Richard or whoever else, Rob Marinelli on defense, say, hey, we're still in this football game. We only need a couple stops. Offense just got some points. Momentum's there. We have a shot. So it was disappointing to see that sequence of events and the way the decisions are getting made. You see the Minnesota game. Now we got to throw on short yardage because we ran the week before. And no, you make your decisions based upon the personnel that you're up against and trying to recognize tendencies and tells from the opponent. One of the shrewd things that Sean McDermott did at the end of I believe it was the end of the first half, he called a timeout after he showed a bluff blitz on Dak. When I was like, wow, he's really about to send the house. It was third and 14 when we completely mismanaged the clock at the end of the first half and actually went into halftime with the extra timeout, which was stupid. But we mismanaged the clock. He shows a bluff, but he calls a timeout after we motioned Zeke out into the flats to see what we would do. And it was so true because I'm like, damn, he's downloading information for later in the game. And Tony Romo astutely pointed that out as well on the broadcast. So those are the type of things that people are doing to us, but we don't seem to do that to them. People have figured out, hey, let's at times try to smother these guys at the line of scrimmage in terms of their receivers and whatnot. We don't do that. We don't like to play football at the line of scrimmage for whatever reason and try to smother other people and force them into creating turnovers. I don't remember the last time the defense got a turnover. Somebody enlightened me to that. Was it Minnesota? When's the last time we got a turnover? So, when you're seeing these things play out with the football team. And I know I said at the beginning of the video that Jason Garrett, might as well ride out the next 4 weeks. But that doesn't mean that you can't hold people accountable. Everybody wants to yell and see people getting in guys' faces real time during the game. Yo, Bill Belichick don't do that. Very rarely do you see Bill Belichick lose his shit during the game. You know what Bill Belichick does? He fires people. Period. Especially guys, and Jimmy Johnson used to do this too. People that were at the bottom of the roster. He used to say, I used to churn the bottom of the roster all the time. So these dudes that you see like Brett Maher or your special teams coach like Keith O'Quinn, those dudes would have no chance in organizations like a Jimmy Johnson or a Bill Belichick. And we don't have that type of accountability here. The head coach is different because they don't have anybody else that will be able to take over. That's something that has to be solved in the offseason. I do agree with that. However, all these other, like how Brett Maher continues to have a job because he can occasionally hit a 60-yard field goal, but he can't consistently make other kicks is beyond me. And that would not be tolerated. When the Patriots brought in, what's his name? They used to be the Ohio State kicker, Mike Nugent. When they brought him in, he missed a few field goals over just the course of a couple weeks after he hadn't been kicking. They cut him. They didn't do this. They're not loyal to bums. Why are we loyal to bums? Keith O'Quinn is a bum. Brett Maher is a bum. Stop being loyal to bums. Jason Garrett might be a bum. Cut his ass in the offseason. But stop this loyalty that we have to people who continuously make mistakes and just aren't productive. Yeah, you're better players. If they don't play well, you got to coach them up and develop that relationship and all that. Great coaches do the same thing. I'm not talking about them. I know you can't cut Travis Frederick or Dak or Zeke when Zeke's not running well or anything like that. I'm talking about the little things and the people within the framework of this roster that can either make or break you in some of these games. And too many times the Cowboys are being broken by this stuff, and we're not holding. That's not the accountability I want to see. I don't care if I'm a parent and I never take anything away from the child, but I just continue to yell at the child. The child eventually will be conditioned to just not care about being yelled at because they're not going to get anything taken away. What affected me when I was a kid was when somebody took something away. Nothing's been taken away. Keith O'Quinn's still going to be here against the Bears. Brett Maher is still going to kick next Thursday. So I mean, what are you showing your team? And that's the culture that's been instilled. And that's not fully on Jason Garrett. That's on Jerry Jones. That's who I'm talking about here. He's the GM. He's the one that came out with all this energy after the Patriots game and was like, talking about Jason Garrett, talking about the coaching staff, talking about how it's not good enough, but then you don't do anything. You didn't do anything. Like, and again, I know they fired other position coaches in the offseason and made them the scapegoat. I get that. But you got like Jimmy would have cut somebody. Bill Parcells, we talk about him cutting Derek Ross back in the day for a punt issue. They don't play, man. But we play too much. So here we are. And I'm frustrated. I know fellow fans out there are frustrated as well. So I'm going to end this up, man, because I've been here ranting and I don't want to. But look, we talk about this notion because I want to address something my boy Vipple, we were talking about via chat. Shout out to you guys, Vipple, and everybody out there. Happy Thanksgiving. But talk about power run game, and we want to have an identity of power run. Vipple texted me and it was like, yeah, we do it halfway. We're power run light. And I thought about it, and I'm like, damn, you know what? He's right, because we don't block the same way we used to block. And again, that's another, going back to what I said earlier about Travis Frederick, we're getting by our reputation, right? So we don't block. We haven't blocked we haven't been an elite offensive line since 2016, in my opinion. I personally haven't seen elite. Okay. The other thing is our run game and the holes just aren't there. We don't block well to the outside or sweeps or anything. See, to me, when they got away from Zeke, because Zeke I think only had 12 carries today, but when they got away from Zeke, they just needed to make an adjustment. He still should have got his touches. Inside, we were killing the Bills. We were moving them. They had no answer for that, and the Bills didn't want that smoke in the interior. Where we were playing into their hands is when you're running sweeps and all the lateral stuff. They're a very fast defense. And they get to the football very well, and that's how they create their negative early down plays. We played right into their hands doing that. The other thing is we don't have a real fullback. So Jameis Olawale, who gave up, that's another guy who gave up the Matthew Slater issue last week on special teams, but he's more of a converted running back who we don't utilize in pass game. We don't utilize as a runner at all. So then it's like when he comes into the game, we're kind of tipping our hand at what he's in there to do because of the lack of creativity and lack of utilization. I'd rather just have a real fullback who's a freaking mauler. But you look at these teams around the league, the Ravens have H-backs. The Ravens have that guy, Ricard, who comes in, who also plays D-tackle. The 49ers have Juszczyk. The Patriots had James Devlin before he got hurt. The Chiefs have Anthony Sherman. Like all these teams that want to establish run have actually real fullbacks, but Cowboys don't seem to be interested in that. But we want to act like we're building this 1990s team. But Emmett ran behind who? Moose. So we're not even doing it right. All we're doing is gaining hollow yards in the pass game right now. That's it. I mean, I know Dak had 355, but he was bad today. And now it's crazy because all you'll hear about tomorrow is how bad Dak played, and you'll hear about Dak and Jason Garrett, and then they'll leave everything else alone. But there's a lot more beyond that. What Dak did today was an average, was a normal week for Carson Wentz and Jared Goff. That's just facts. So overall disappointed with our output. Again, congratulations to the Bills. They've been quiet. They've worked hard. They've developed an identity and a game plan around Josh Allen. They're very fast on defense and they cover well. And for the most part, outside of their kicking issues, they didn't try to beat themselves today. So I can admire a good football team like that. And best of luck to them the rest of the day and the rest of the way with Coach McDermott. So, guys, I'm out. And hopefully everybody else can enjoy the rest of their Thanksgiving. I'm probably going to go and drink away my sorrows before I go to UT tomorrow. If you're still watching a UT fan, my buddy Aaron Khalifa is giving away 3 tickets, very good seats, I believe row 64, for tomorrow's UT game. Hit me up. If you follow on social media like you should, you would have seen that message. So if you want some tickets for tomorrow or never been to DKR, hit up Aaron. He has those tickets. Guys, so thankful for y'all. Thankful for Boss's Ranch. Please subscribe. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. That's going to be our new goal for the channel. Appreciate y'all. Over and out.